Hi, good morning or good evening, whenever you're watching this. This is my second round starting this video because I wasn't focused. I am in a little bit of different vibration than the last time when I made a video on sacred relationships, announcing the program that I created. I'm not in my house, my flat. I'm in my house, and I'm always a little bit out of alignment when I'm here because the vibrations around are not so, they're not appealing to me. And besides, I had a session this week that was difficult for me. Not the session itself, but the person was fully vaccinated, and I had a very big reaction to it afterwards. And I'm still clearing it. I'm still not feeling all well from the shedding of that, and I didn't see it coming, so it kind of got me by surprise, and I have some pain on this area, and there was something placed on me, so I'm not fully right, fully present and in flow to talk about what I want to talk. So I hope this comes out well. I'm sorry the lighting is around here is not so good, but I can't do this on a day because I'm not alone here. So um okay, what I spoke about last time in my previous Serbian video was about an announcement of a program that I created. I made a writing, a text, which is on my blog page, about a chemical transformation of the wound between divine feminine and divine masculine, which actually transforms it into divine union. And this is intended to be sort of an announcement for it too. So as I was mainly addressing the Serbian speaking populations, I was a bit more in flow. It's not, I mean, for now it's only for Serbian speaking population because I have worked with people who are not Serbians, but they are not as many, and I don't, there was no interest for it so far. It's not closed for others, but as long as we'll all be speaking Serbian, it's going to be difficult for me to switch between languages all the time. So that's why. But basically, I needed to talk about it a bit more. It's always different vibration when I speak in different languages. When I create these videos because of the population that listens to it, I guess, and the message that they need to receive. So yeah, this blog I wrote, I didn't write anything for a year, so this sort of was cooking inside of me for a year, and the program itself was sitting on my paper. I created this outflow, and it was sitting in my paper for 3 to 4 months because before I actually sat down to type it and to publish it, to announce it, because it was this is also a very important topic for me, and it moves a lot inside of me. And since I made this last video, besides this session, it did move a lot. And at moments I was like completely in flow. At moments I was clearing something so difficult and so dense. And this last session also had something in it regarding relationships, because this one of the past lives of this woman was that she was somebody who was breaking relationships, who was destroying the space in between partners, so that the relationship can be destroyed. So it's yeah, and I kind of had one great grandmother. Well, it's not so. It's great grandmother on my father's side who was doing the same. Was like a very nasty bitch witch. uh, it was like a meddler herself, and influenced a lot of people in a not a good way, because she was like that, and she had powers. I don't know where she got them, but she had them, and she messed up with a lot of people and with me even before I was born, because she didn't want anybody as powerful as her in the lineage. I spoke about it somewhere. So it kind of, and the woman was coming from them, living in the same area where she has roots from. So I was like, yeah, I didn't even think, do I need to take her in? I just knew I had to. So moved something, some clearing happened in me too. So I this is why I can't say what what is what's mine and what's clients and what's from the vaccine and what's from this other things, because it was a lot. But there was something implanted on me on the side. So I'm sure that it's not only this issue, but it's attaching to this issue. So speaking of clearing the space in between partners, future partners, or divine partners, um, incarnate or not, um, that's one of my issues, and it kind of moved a lot, and it was actually difficult. It's difficult for me to speak about it now. That's what I'm aiming at. Yeah, that's one of the things, and I'm gonna come back to that. Felt like I was not eloquent anymore. I started making this video, and I lost track of my sentences. So it was, what's happening? I'm not connected. I'm disconnected, which is partially because of this, what happened this week, and partially because of the clearing that is still happening. When as I speak about those things, something is happening to me, and something gets cleared, and yeah, it brings it out. It's supposed to bring it out. That's fine. And with my clients, it also brings out something in me when there is something similar there. That's okay too. But as I'm gonna be on a small vacation from Monday for a week, so I'm not gonna have a chance to finish this soon, and I'm already in another energy. I'm feeling other things that are coming up to the surface that I should present to you. So I just thought I still needed to finish it in spite of, I don't know, however this looks like. I wanted it to be good, but I really don't know. So I apologize in advance if it's not as it's supposed to be. So yeah, but this is also one of the things, the issues why this program was on paper for so long and not offered. This is for group work. I usually work individually with people, but I did do group work with small groups, and up until the quarantine and when all the stuff, well, even a bit before, until 2019, when the energies kind of changed and started feeling very disruptive. So I haven't done any group work because I do in person, and this is for online program. Um, and this is something that I'm doing for the first time. I'm offering group work online for the first time. I do individual sessions online. It's not unfamiliar to me, but I'm saying this for the sake of the people that are familiar with my work and are used to something else. This is why I'm mentioning it. So why it's, I mean, mainly because most of the people that I worked with, they're not all in the area where I live, and they cannot access it every time differently than online. And I'm mainly aiming to them because they already know me, have worked with me, and we have already basically touched some points regarding relationships. And this is why they came for a session. Mostly, not all of my sessions are touching this part of life, the area of their lives, but mostly what clients want to work on when they come to is finding the cause of some why a relationship ended, or why a disruptive pattern was there in a relationship. Why can't they keep a partner or have a partner they want, or work on their soulmate or soulmate group? So some kind of relationships. And yeah, it's about purpose and their talents too, but what it comes down to is the relationships. So I thought, while listening to them and while seeing everything that is coming out, and while working a lot with soul groups, and working a lot on my own self and my own issues, and connecting in different ways to members of my soul group, well, to the best of my knowing of them, um, I thought it's about time that we address something like this. There are programs on relationships, but what I'm intending this to is not only a relationship and any kind of relationship. It's a conscious relationship. It's a relationship for people who are already on on their own journey, on their spiritual journey. I have come a long way in that path. So it's mainly for, I mean, not my program, but conscious relationship mostly appeals to that kind of population, the population that is on already in communion with the divine, this or that way, or want to be in communion with the divine. And there are a lot of not obstacles, but a lot of things come out to the surface along the way. I have to, I mean, I'm holding these stones, but they're sort of um, blocking my flow there. I need to speak with my hands. um, so I saw the need to address this, because especially in couple last 2 years, 3 years, a lot of friendships, cooperations, work relationships, and partnerships, and romantic relationships, and relationships that were intended to be forever after broke off. And a lot of people are having issues there. Now we don't know how to do relationships, but at the end it comes down that we all think that there's something wrong with us when these kind of things happen, and we're looking for answers. And working with my clients, this is what I saw. I mean, the energies that we are all receiving are sort of more feminine energies. We're rising. Feminine energy is on the rise, and it should be on the rise. We're talking about it. There are a lot of groups and people who are addressing this and helping women rise, which is, it's still happening, and it's gonna be happening for a while. And there have been attempts here and there, at least here in area where I am, of some male groups, men coming together to help each other integrate this energy. I see a big need there uh, to help men integrate this feminine energy, because we'll have feminine and masculine energy inside, and it's not impossible for them to integrate this energy. We all know how. We have it inside. It's just we have been disconnected, or we are functioning from one or the other principle without connecting to the other one, because nobody taught us. They taught us wrong, or because of the force of the events, we are forced to go that way. Not too many of us are balanced inside first. And this is what I see in my clients, and this is what I see in myself. I constantly go up and down because of the energies rising and the constant need to come back to alignment. And excuse me. So this mm, I think this is happening to everybody, and this is happening in relationships, and this is why many relationships are breaking down, or any kind of relations are having challenges, if not breaking down. And this is like the trend that I see in people coming to my sessions. And yes, we still need to help women rise. There are still issues, and I still, especially here in this area where I am now, I see it. I still see in my sessions, but I'm not talking now about what is needed for a woman to rise up, to accept herself, to on what is happening when women are afraid of men, and why are women afraid of men, and what are the beliefs that they still have. Maybe they hate men because of their issues from past. I'm not talking about that now. We have been addressing this enough, and there are groups or people who are, I'm still working on this with my clients when they come with that need, but at the moment I'm not talking about that. I'm also not talking about the trend that was in men, and how they are indoctrinated and raised up to treat a woman and a woman in themselves, because mainly you're taught to suppress this feminine energy inside of it. I'm not going to talk now what's feminine and what's masculine energy. We'll be dealing this in the workshop itself. I'm just saying that yes, there is a need to help men rise up to this energy. It is not what for us. It seems like a new energy because we're all ascending and rising. The earth is ascending and we're ascending with it, and it looks like that we're receiving some new energies that are unfamiliar to us, but actually they're not unfamiliar to us. They have been here before. They're just new, seem new harmonics, because they're energy harmonic energies. We're not used to being in harmony, first of all within ourselves, and then with everybody else. Where have you seen harmony lately? Like, not only in your immediate relationships, but anywhere. Work. Maybe you're in harmony when you go in nature and you completely get into that space, and you forget everything else, and you're connected, and you're thinking about the leaves and the air and the clouds and the grass and the stones, and you're completed, and then you feel some balance and you feel harmony. That's just a glimpse of it. But where in cities and where in your life do you actually see harmony and feel it? Because we completely forgot about it. And there's something happening with my laptop, so I just it's changing screens. I don't know what's going on. Shade of screens, so it's strange. Yeah, that's one of the things, but mainly where we're lacking harmony is in our relationships, in any kind of relationships. Do you have harmonious relationships at your workspace or in your family? most of my clients that come to my sessions are coming because of being a product of a dysfunctional family, or because they're having a dysfunctional family now themselves and have issues there, or they have a dysfunctional relationship. So we are all functioning in this dysfunctionality. We have learned how to function um, from being out of alignment. We adapted to it, but it's normal. We had to. When everything around you is insane, yeah, you can be sane, but you're gonna seem insane to them. But you adapt a little bit, so you go back and forth, back and forth. And this is what we used to. We forgot. It doesn't mean that this wasn't here. From what I'm sensing and what I'm feeling, to me also, this looks like it's coming. These are energies that are coming from other harmonic universes that are higher up in frequency than us. So it looks strange to our system, to our energy system, and to our bodies, but actually we do have it inside, and if we just haven't got deep enough there to bring it out to the surface and to remember. There needs to be something to remind us of it. And usually these are some events that they don't remind us always, but they just push us into searching and exploring and clearing and helping ourselves. And then we just connect. This is in our memories of our higher selves, actually. But when we go inward, we connect to our higher selves. So this is why this program is intended to, ideally, all relationships should be conscious relationships. And I'm not saying that it's not intended for the people who are having a dysfunctional relationship. Of course, we all want a conscious relationship and a functional relationship and a harmonious relationship. This is why it's here, and this is why people want it, need it. But it's mainly for a conscious relationship actually is not for everybody. Not everybody knows how to do it, and this is why there is a lot of disruption lately, and a lot of dysfunctionality, and a lot of relationships are breaking up, because all these energies, they're bringing you back to alignment, to yourself and to your higher self, are moving something inside of you that needs to become conscious, that needs to come to the surface so that you can witness it, and so that you can do something about it, or just release it. Just just see it and integrate it and release it. But not everybody is ready to do that, and most of us are in the snow phase when something like this happens. We're in denial, and maybe if something comes up to the surface that we need to accept, that was not so good for us, and where we did not feel as good, we can't accept it. God knows I've done that. Even when we lose something or someone to, I don't know, number of different circumstances, we are in denial. We can't accept that, so it takes a little bit of time. This is not a very conscious response. It's a defense mechanism, which is normal for our psyche, and it takes a little bit of time. But if you stay in there, it's not a healthy reaction, and it's not going to create healthy relationships. It's not going to create anything healthy for you. You're going to go back into the same pattern that you used to function from before. The thing is, most of us do relationships like that. we're not most of the times conscious of why we're choosing a partner of this particular person. And most of the times when things come to the surface that need addressing, we tend to put it under the rug. Some people just function like that. It's their mode of behavior. And in these kind of relationships that I'm talking about, you cannot function like this. You're functioning from wholeness. Ideally, you're functioning from wholeness. So these I'm looking at my cat because she's listening to it when I'm speaking. These kind of relationships are so coming to wholeness, but coming from wholeness. Ideally, in a conscious relationship, you have two conscious people, whole people, that are coming to union, that are agreed to come to union, that want to walk the path of the divine together. So it's not for everybody, because in this union a lot of will be pushed to the surface. And why is it pushed to the surface? It's pushed to the surface because ideally in these kind of relationships you are in union with another divine being, with your counterpart. So far, the way we were taught to observe union is from this point of energies, divine feminine and masculine energies, like polarities. In a sense, yes, they are polarities because they are of different gender, but this is sort of the same continuum. You are the same. You are the same frequency. You are the same energy. You are, I'd say the same soul. You're not the same soul. Souls are whole. You are in this union, ideally. Feminine has already connected to her soul, to her higher self, and embodied it, or is in the process of embodying it, and masculine too. So in this continuum, when you're coming together in the continuum, it's not a line, but in a spiral, and they say it's a dance. Of course, you need, I used to do dancing, so when you are dancing with a partner, there's a lot of alignment you have to come into, and when you do a lot of choreographies and different poses, there are a lot of things that you have to pay attention to, and come together and create together but you have both to be in the rhythm, in the same rhythm. But this implies that you constantly fall out of rhythm, or you have to practice all the time so that you don't fall out of rhythm. And for me, I don't see it in this way. Yes, you have to be in the same rhythm, but your frequency, it's more than the rhythm. Yeah, if you want to say that we're all light and sound, you are same frequency, and if not the same sound, but something that blends in and sort of creates the symphony. Yeah, because from this blending, something third comes out. Right? Yes, it is. I still address to this, but because this third thing is here inside, it should be bigger. Yes, because this is the energy actually, that it's not only the energy that comes out of the union, because it's like a trinity. It's not polarity, but because these two energies create something new, whether that is a project or your new self, or a union itself, or a child, or something third, it's always a new energy, and it's always a new you. It was a new partner, and it's always a new being from this union. New being comes, because when you merge energies together and when the frequencies merge, it's not the same frequency anymore, it's enhanced. It's a symphony. So you're enhanced being, and you sort of create when this big being, so in a trinity, it's a trinity, in a trinity, the Holy Father, uh, the Holy Son, and the Holy Spirit, which is a woman, which is a divine feminine. So there, that's why I was, it's, I'm trying to translate it into my into the language that I can actually pronounce in something understandable. So it's a little bit difficult for me, and I'm not having visuals. I'm having uh, other languages that are being spoken to me, and my brain is translating it. So this is why I stop for for some moments. So this is how I see it. I'm telling you the way I understand it, and the way why I know why I don't see it as a dance. It's because I would more compare it to two rivers that are coming. When two rivers are coming to one to the, there is a space of confluence, and in this confluence these two rivers are coming together and they're continuing, so there is a little bit of a bigger space, a bigger river, so it becomes a bigger river, and then it continues to flow like another river, which is like, I don't know, it might be consisted of several other rivers, but it's still, it has this name of this one river that is quite bigger than these other ones and goes through various other countries. And this is how I see it. It's a confluence. This coming into union, divine union, is a confluence because it's the space. When, yes, those two energies, the feminine and divine masculine energies are creating, but it's not like they're only creating, they're integrating it and they're embodying it through their souls. They firstly, so ideally they have already embodied their souls, and they're coming into union, and they're now creating something even bigger. And this even bigger, this divine energy, God energy, divine mother, father, God. When I say God, I think divine mother and divine father, which is one being for me. So just different expressions. So this energy is not only, it's not coming from them, but it's also coming down to them. So this is like they're like a vessel. They're creating this confluence is a vessel for this divine energy, like a container or a vessel that brings down this energy and embodies it through them, but through the union also. And this is what keeps together, what sustains them and sustains the relationship. So when I say this, I'm not saying you have a child and then this child sustains a relationship. This is a pattern. This is a karmic pattern that many people repeat. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that divine should be in the middle and around, but not only your souls. It's like if we're looking at the soul groups, like one soul group, soul family, is like a grape. So this grape has many those small grapes on it, but on the wine you have many of other soul families there. So in one family, soul family, you're all embodying this divine energy. Like this one small grape is embodying, it comes from one seed, but then it grows, and it's, all of them are embodying the same divine energy. So this soul family, I'm talking about union of divine masculine and feminine energies, but from them always something else comes. But when we're speaking about soul groups, uh, when you're embodying your soul, more than one person can embody it. So this becomes like a bigger sphere. From all of them, it's 3 or 5 or 10. But in this union, where you have already on an earthly plane embodied your soul to the extent that it can be embodied through you, and then your partner, divine feminine and masculine, embodied the same energy to the extent that they can embody it to you. You're embodying the new energy. And for me, the way I see it, it's not the soul that you're embodying, it's the oversoul that you are embodying. So it's coming through your soul and through your soul family. They don't all have to necessarily be incarnate, but when you're in a divine union with another being, your soul partner, you are embodying this same energy, and this is why actually you come together. This is what brings you together. This is who brings you together. This is who you should see in each other. This is what keeps you together like a glue. When this energy moves away for some reason from either one of you, that might happen that the relationship is not functioning anymore. It's not functional. I'm not talking necessarily about twin flames and twin rays now. But yeah, this is basically that story. But twin flame really saga can be manipulated a little bit, and I have had a bit of that taste of that experience. So it can keep you stuck if you're not seeing the soul. You should always be seeing the soul in this person, not just body and personality qualities in this person. And you, in this kind of relationship, you should be in love and creating the space of love with a soul. So this means that the partner, so soul partner, doesn't always have to be incarnate, or can take up different bodies, or move away, shift away, or be in walk-in, or it's in the same person. But sometimes when, for instance, if you're completely stuck in twin flame story, and you think this is just this particular person, because what I see for many clients of mine who are, I spoke about twin flames, and I said a lot. It's nothing wrong in what I said, but what I see in many people is that, and I was like that too. You become obsessed with the idea that you are not really seeing the person in front of you, and you might not even know the person in front of you, because many of them are in relationships that are not functional, and they're searching for it from the place of the satisfaction, and not from the place of seeing the soul in somebody, or sensing the soul. This, of course, this happens naturally. You don't have to go through many programs to know that, because your heart knows you're going to be pulled. But the problem becomes when a twin flame, in a twin flame relationship, whether you are together or not, and this is why many of them are not together, when one of them is not awake or conscious, that's a disaster. You can be twin flames and still have the other one that is not awake and can't, because they don't want to work on their traumas, on their issues. They are more used to running away from their problems, or using evasive or defense mechanism, or evasive behaviors, and they don't want to change that, or they are feeling very comfortable in the space where they are, or they're not feeling comfortable, but it entails a lot for them to change, and it touches a lot of pain, or it might hurt a lot of people, so they don't want. So this energy can also move away from them. because it always comes from higher place, from higher beings. And there are other things that can be that can happen there. This is just one example. But there are other things that can be used and manipulated with in this in the twin flame relationship. This is why we have a lot of this um, chaser and runner scenarios. But in a conscious relationship, in a sacred relationship, ideally these scenarios don't happen. This is coming to alignment. It's coming to harmony, harmonizing, synchronizing. Because there's always a period of adapting, and we're used to closing our eyes when we haven't. Um, that's my cat who just pushed something. Hmm. I have to remember this spot. There's a reason why this happened now. That's I have to remember what I said now. Just a moment. Um, in in um in this chaser runner scenario, what was this? What I'm saying? Hold on. I don't know why she did that. I'm just so curious now because she's very respectful of my energy and she never does something like this. So she just knocked something down. I have to investigate that. That's I'm pushed out of my focus now. Um, thing is that ideally, if you are, that's what I was saying. If you are still blind to some spots inside of you that needs to come to the surface and be healed, you're going to be open for it in a relationship. You're going to be running away from the person that pushes that and that brings it out to the surface in these kind of relationships, because you're bringing down a lot of energy and a high vibrational energy, different kind of energy. That's going to be pushed to the surface. When you come two waters, two rivers coming together, they're bringing in a lot of water with it, and some is not clear, some is dirty, and there are other things but they always come first to the surface. So again, when you pour water, a clear water into something, anything that is dirty is going to come to the surface. And even when you use like a flame, when you have two flames, two rays coming together, those two flames will create a third flame because they're not the same flame anymore. And if even if they're the same color, when they come together, it's going to be a different shade. So it's a bigger, stronger flicker flame of brighter color. But if there is anything that still needs to some dross that needs to be uh, burnt off, it's going to come to the surface at that moment, and it's going to be burnt, of course, and it's going to be painful. When you are dealing with things that are out of alignment and not in place in you, sometimes when you have to put something back in place, it's going to hurt. And it's not hurting you because you're gonna die. It looks like what comes like in these kind of unions, when we're speaking about these alchemical transformations, when we have a container of these energy that is coming down, and this is created, this vessel that is creating this divine feminine and divine masculine, and this union, what is between, what creates the trinity is a dynamic between divine feminine and divine masculine. Feminine and masculine doesn't really matter. And these are it's our neurotic behavior, everything that we are not willing to admit to ourselves first, and not to mention somebody else, because we all have the tendency to present the best side of us. And in a relationship, you can't always do that, especially not in a long-term relationship. Mm. And uh, relationship will always pull this to the surface. Any kind of relationship. It doesn't have to be a conscious relationship or a divine relationship. In any kind of relationship, you have a mirror. So many people who are on the spiritual path and the path of divinity or embodying divinity, they're choosing to walk it alone, which is fine. It still happens. It doesn't mean it's a longer journey, but clearings, especially karmic patterns, are coming to the surface in the relationships more. Not only karma that is between you or between other people, but your own personal karmic pattern that you have been using and evading for centuries and eons. It's going to come to the surface sooner or later, and in a relationship it always comes to the surface. So if you're doing it alone, you can still lose some threads there, and maybe you have to come back at a certain point to finish that. You know, if not anything else, then to just take care of somebody. Because when we're in point of service, we forget the closest immediate ones to us. Yeah, and even when you are walking a path like that, you cannot completely evade um, other people unless you're living in a cave, which is also possible, but it doesn't happen as often as it used to. But still, at some point, you're going to have to be having some encounters because you need some people at some point. And you're going to fetch some food, or you have been a child at some point and you needed somebody to take care of you, or you're going to be walking along the street of some road and find somebody who is in need, or somebody who pushes your buttons for some reason, or try to because of their own movie that they're at that moment in. So you cannot completely avoid other people because we are in a space where others are too. So that's a mirror. You always have a mirror. And in any kind of relationship, you have a mirror that is reflecting back to you what you need to pay attention to in yourself too. Maybe not something that you're projecting on them, maybe something that they're projecting on you. But again, if this pushes your buttons and it goes in your nerves, that is something there you need to pay attention in yourself. Not necessarily the same kind of behavior or the behavior that you detest in them, but in you. What I mean, you can detest it because you've had it, you did it at some point, but you can also do that because it pushes you out of your comfort zone, it pushes you out of your balance for whatever reason, and you don't want to be dealing with that. And at some point you're gonna have to be dealing with it. So yes, we can create a space where we are not affected by that, which is ideal, because when you're not triggered anymore, you still meet those people, but they're not mirrored to you. It's just they're on their own path. But in relationship, if it's a conscious relationship, a sacred relationship, and when I say sacred, I mean coming from the place of wholeness. Sacred is whole, holy, or a whole, from two whole people who are already in their embodying their soul and in their divinity, and they're walking this road together because they choose to embody their oversoul, or because they have a mutual task, or because they are a task to each other, or because it's just the time for these kind of relationships to come to the surface and they have to be the example of what is possible. Because once upon a time, this was a norm. We were functioning from harmony between each other. We were the ones who were creating harmony. And this harmony, like in the river, when you have one bigger river that is spilling out, it goes out and it spills out to everybody else, and it, and then it just, you have all kind of, you have nature around, you have fishes inside, you have gardens next to the river and many other things. So it's it's in inflow into each other, and then it's an outflow. So this is, for me, this is why I said it's not a dance, it's like an inflow. You flow into each other. From the experience, what I can tell you, this really is, so you, somebody just flows into your energy, something flows into you. And of course you have to allow it, you have to want it, to accept it and allow it, because it's going to be pushing a lot inside of you. If you don't, it's going to be happening anyways. It's going to be harder, but even that, it pushes a lot to the surface, because this space in between can be wounded, can have, this creates the split. And although while we're remembering, there's some of us, I still remember, I have this memory of this soul, and well, I thought it was incarnate, but then I thought it was discarnate, and then I just don't know anymore. This being that is not present here. I have memories of way before this. I mean, I've been telling you a lot about my own lives that are memories of pain and loss, but there has been, like, in the beginning, I don't know when was that, in the beginning of time, like the first earth ever, and even lives out, alien lives, not on earth. But I mean, what do I know at this moment? Maybe to me that looked like an alien planet, but it was not an alien planet. It was some other dimensional Earth. So there are some of us that still remember these kind of unions, these kind of harmonies, and this kind of love, because that love is it's not a feeling. When we say love, we usually uh, address the feeling. We think about the feeling. It's a feeling, but it's not a feeling only. It's a state, but it's like a plasmic energy. It's dense. And I've in this lifetime, I only experienced it once in the process with a plant teacher. It's like prana, something that sustains you. It's like completely silky and nourishing, and it's an energy, but it's something you cannot live without, and you can't breathe without. You cannot exist without. Love always creates. Love never destroys. And we somehow flip that when we're in a relationship, when we accept some things that are disruptive as love, because we don't know better. Also, yes, our hearts feel a little, but most of us don't know better, because we're still healing this what is not love outside of us and in other people, but inside, in this kind of relationships, this pushes outside of us what's still not love inside of us. And the love that comes through these kind of unions that are actually you first, me on the inside. You don't only embody first yourself, you meet on the inside. When they say on the inside, you meet on astral plane or on other planes, and you know it. Trust me, you cannot miss it. Because for the feminines, and I'm a feminine, so I'm a female, I can't speak for men because I don't know how that looks like. Nobody, so now I don't know. I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody who has experienced it. But when these same frequency of you that is of other gender that is blending into you comes when you just meet, when your light bodies meet, you vibrate, as in make music. And especially your womb has some kind of a it's not a vibration, it's a vibration, but it's more than that. It's like a shiver, it's like complete, it's some kind of love feeling that it's I can't use words to explain that. And it's, and I'm not talking about, in intimate union, I'm not talking about an orgasmic feeling, because it beats that. It is that, but it's not about the ecstasy of it, because you can have it with somebody else and it still can be confused to love, but it's not quite there yet. And you can't know what you don't know. You can only compare it to to what you experience. So when this happens, there's no, there's just no way you can miss it. And in these kind of unions, the thing is that not only it's not only your bodies, your souls are in a relationship, your light bodies are in a relationship, and they have to be in alignment. So when your souls and your body, light bodies, come out of alignment in this, you're not going to be communicating very well. And it's always like a inflow and outflow, like a pulse. And that's why I can tell you from this perspective at the moment. And I'm in the program, I'm not talking about tantric union, and I'm not talking, I'm going to mention it, but I'm not somebody who is knowledgeable in Kundalini energy rising or Tantra. So yeah, we're not talking about that. But this ideally should happen only with your partner. There are tantric groups and somebody who is talking in Taoist, and there are people even here who are having groups and lessons in that. I know people who go to that. I know people who are knowledgeable in that. But what I've seen, there's a lot of space there for abuse, for misuse. Sometimes intentional and sometimes not, because you're very open in this. Especially when you're dealing with sexual energy, it's very potent energy, and everybody's interested, especially everybody's interested in wombs and the power, that creational power that womb space has. So in these kind of unions, when you open up, you are completely open. And when you are having these encounters, even if they're not physical, if they're only astral encounters, you create a very powerful bond that you can mistake for something that it isn't. And you can be used, because your energy can be used in this way. You can be drained of energy. Something can get attached to you, or placed in you, and some cords are more easier to be placed in you. So ideally, you should only do it with your partner. Yes, we create with this sexual energy in this encounter. This part is very important. And I'm not saying I'm going to mention it to the best of my knowledge, but I'm not a teacher of it, so I'm not going to be going there. And I don't recommend you to go to groups, because in these kind of unions, it happens naturally. When it's this is how you know when it's your divine partner, that just happens. You don't need lessons in it. What is needed for this Holy Trinity to take place and to be in place is for a woman. And again, I'm a woman, so I'm speaking from a position of a woman. A woman needs to feel safe to open up that much. And yes, somebody can create space for you, who knows how, who has knowledge in it, so that you can open, feel space safe in that moment. But if you are not going in the same direction, and if they're just interested in energy exchange, or taking your energy, or just something else, or in just getting high on it, and you create feelings for this because it's creating a powerful bond, then you're going to have a problem, then you're going to be hurt, and then you are having this. These are the kind of wounds that I'm talking about. This is the wounding between divine feminine and divine masculine energy, because what creates the wound, mostly what creates the rift and the separation, is bringing in and other energies, especially when we're talking about these kind of unions, and when we're talking about divine feminines, to feel safe and to open up. The womb is a space where you create with your sexual energy. You bring out, it's a portal. You bring out something to this earthly plane. It doesn't always necessarily has to be a child. Usually it is a child from this kind of union, where you can bring other things depending on what your soul purpose is. And if you are a creator soul, you can create a whole lot of unpleasant and unwanted things if the wounding is there. So other energies can come, because on some plane, an astral plane especially, when there is a wound between divine feminine and divine masculine energy, it's visible. It's a literal wound in this body, whether that's an astral body, and I don't know which level is that. So it's visible, so they can actually come, and some come deliberately, especially when you come to union, and when you are coming closer. You're going to see a whole lot of energies, forces, groups, people, individuals, but usually beings who are not interested in you coming to union, because they're using you. They want to use your energy, and they're going to be interested in creating deeper rift, deeper separation, and in this or that way, enhance this separation program, not union program. So this is one of the things, bringing in a divine relationship, in a conscious relationship. It's so very advisable to bring in other energies, because that creates, you can literally bring very hostile and unpleasant beings in that. Because when you have two sparks, two flames, or two rivers coming together, especially two flames, it's a whole lot of, there are going to be others who are interested in using you as a battery. And also, this should be uplifting you. This should help you ascend and raise your frequency. It's raised from the inside, not outside. But if there is still something that is deepening this wound, or pressing it, you're going to be lowering your frequency all the time. And if there's somebody who's not interested in working on themselves in this relationship, and their own inner wounding, personal wounding, whether from this life or past life, that's going to be enhancing the wound. And if there is anybody who's not feeling safe in this in the environment of this relationship, if the feminine is not feeling safe, it's not going to open. Because within this alchemical transfer, there are alchemical processes that need to happen for this relationship to take place. But there are also, in a woman, chemical processes that need to happen, so that you can, the woman pushes you up. Yes, when you blend those energies, they push each other up. But this is why feminine energy has been, it's been suppressed. But I wouldn't say suppressed, it's been used, because it pushes you. You know, how many men have I heard, especially from spiritual community, who are using women for sex so that they can go use this energy and go to astral. And then he says, I place something on her so that she doesn't get hurt. I mean, what? Why? She cannot fly? She cannot learn how to roam the skies and, astral travel. You can't teach her that, but you're using her so that you can ascend, or whatever it is that they're calling you. Of course, that can happen only to a certain level, and then you cannot go higher because you go together. There are certain points when you come where you have to go together. This, some people don't, I mean, it's innocent, but they think it's innocent. It's not innocent, but they don't even understand that it's abuse. They're using somebody. They think they're helping them because it's a programming. This is when in a relationship, we're used to that somebody dominates somebody. It's like a ball we toss to each other, or a dance that we have to keep up the pace and the rhythm, but it's never flow. And we need to flow. We just need to flow. And when the flow stops, when there's something that is blocking it, like a dam pushes and it pushes, and then it creates this stale water that at some moment becomes unhealthy. And then you need to place all your energy to clear it first so that it can flow again, or drain it and pour in. And some people use others to be pouring this new energy, which is not nice. And there are lessons for that. But you shouldn't. This is not conscious. We're not talking about conscious relationships anymore. So this is one thing. Feminine needs to feel safe. Masculine needs to feel safe too, because they need to open their heart. But when we're speaking about opening, even for women, you have to connect this space, womb space, to the heart space. It goes naturally, yes, but in those practices, I mean, you cannot, especially if you have a male who is a dominant teacher who's teaching this, you're expected to just and when you're mentioning tantric schools, I don't know, I've never been, so maybe I'm saying something wrong, but from what I've read, especially in old Egypt and wherever they're mentioning that there were schools, you're expected not to have feelings, and you are not, especially when they were in temples, when they were helping others to push them with their energy to ascend, they were not expected to have feelings. So, and this is not what I'm talking about. This is not union, and it's not conscious. This is why I recommend you do it with your partner, if you are doing it at all, because this, you have to connect. This is the Trinity inside of us that we need to connect for women. This is the womb and the heart and the third eye and the mind. So this mind and heart needs to be working in unison in any kind of relationship, especially in conscious relationships. But womb, heart, and mind for women needs to work in unison in a conscious relationship. For a man, it's a lion and heart, and third eye and mind. But the power center for a conscious man is a heart. It's for women and men, but the power center for a woman, for a conscious woman, is her sexual energy. This is the throne of that you need to sit in, and you don't have to have other energies occupying your space and your throne there. It's yours, and it's for your partner, it's for your union to create for yourself and for your partner, because you create in a conscious relationship, in a spiritual relationship, you're creating together for your community and for others, everybody, because you are firstly connecting to the divine and embodying those energies for yourself, but for everybody, because you are lighthouses, your beacons, who are showing with their presence what's possible. Um, that's one thing. And the other thing is that woman also needs to feel appreciated. A man needs to feel appreciated. In this kind of relationship, you need, when you are pouring down a lot of energy, high vibrational energy, you need somebody to hold the space for you. Yeah, this energy holds the space for both, but your divine masculine is holding the space for you, especially when the things come to surface that you need to work on. But you are holding the space for them, for him, for them too, because they have things they need to work on, maybe in a little bit different way, but you both need to show appreciation for each other. If you don't feel safe in your relationship or appreciated, um, then maybe you should consider whether you want to be there and why are you there. You can have an agreement, or you can have a compromise, but it's not a conscious relationship, and we're talking about something else. There are no manuals. Nobody can give you something to to read, or a checklist, so that you know that you're having a conscious relationship. It's different for everybody depending on your soul, individual soul purposes, and the sole purpose of a relationship, of a union, because it creates a third soul, actually, and this soul is bonding you and bringing you together, but there is a special purpose for it. So it's like, it's better, for instance, you would have a divinity that you dedicate this relation, that you devote this relationship to, or you embody through your relationship. So in that sense, when I was speaking that something else can come through this rift, you have to be very careful, especially in tantric unions, when you're connecting to certain divine beings. Who are you connecting to? Because you have to always be connecting to your higher selves first, and it goes through your higher selves. And this is how you know you are actually having twin flame relationship, because it always takes you to your higher self. It doesn't pull you down. Maybe it's going in that direction um, at, to a certain point, and then it stops because something happened. Something happened with one of you, or both of you, or something came into that space in between, and the flow is not there anymore, and you're not being connected to your higher self anymore, but you're being depleted. And when you're being depleted of energy, it's not a twin flame relationship, and it's not a conscious union, and it's not your place to be there anymore, no matter how much you want it. And trust me, I've had that experience. It's a very painful one. Doesn't mean it's not a valuable lesson, but I could have done without it. It can be karmic lesson too. Yes, in your conscious relationship and a twin flame relationship, you are clearing your karma. You'll both have karma, but you'll be clearing karma with other people too. Clearing usually happens through a woman, because woman, when a woman accepts a man, she accepts karma of a man. He also accepts her karma too, but it's because of the nature of the energy, feminine energy, that is more receptive. So it sort of kind of draws in more. It goes more through women, and mostly because you have this womb space. I'm my soul is like a master cleaner soul, so I end up clearing things that you wouldn't believe, and I do it for my clients too. but it tends to get pushed out a lot more than anybody is ready to face. So I'm maybe speaking from my perspective a little bit, but it is. I mean, even in ink doesn't mean it should be done like that. Both should do it, but I'm yet to meet a man that's a powerful um, master cleaner as I am. Doesn't mean that they exist, but they don't. My mind is coming to that it doesn't mean that this that they don't exist. It's just that I haven't met anybody so far, and it's difficult. I met some other who are in training. There were some clients of mine that they were coming, but I mean it's just it's not that level. I'm not saying this as um praising myself, because that's when you're in a body, it's not a very nice thing to be seeing and feeling. I'm only mentioning it because it can be a challenge for me. That is a challenge in a relationship, not only for me but for a partner, because most of them don't understand what the heck is going on, because my energy is just, even when you don't want to, it's clearing stuff and it's pushing stuff to the surface. So in these kind of relationships, when you are even in soulmate relationship, twin flame relationship, especially in a sacred relationship, it's going to push to the surface much quicker what needs to be addressed and cleared. So this is one sign: clearing, and then bringing you to your higher self and connecting to your higher self. Always, it always takes you to a higher self, but sacred relationship takes you to your oversoul. And having a spontaneous kundalini awakening, not necessarily in physical union, but just by sitting and talking, or not even talking but thinking of this person. And I'm not talking about being sexually aroused, I'm talking about full-blown kundalini experience. uh, and that's how you know. That's how you know somebody is your twin flame. So if you are thinking and dwelling whether somebody is your twin flame, if this part is missing, then that's not your twin flame. And then for the sacred relationship, for the, I don't know what level that is. It's it, this feeling of the woman being like, when you are, if you are to a vessel, there is this frequencies, and this river, new river is coming into you, and your body, our body is an instrument, it's a vessel in itself. So this instrument is going to create some music, so you vibrate. And this is it's completely something different. It's not even a kundalini awakening. It's something, then it's indescribable. You have to feel it to understand it. So these are some of the steps, so you recognize it. And that does it happen in every relationship? I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked to whole too many people that have experienced this, but it's um I've read about it, and I thought it doesn't exist until it did. So yeah, it's possible. So it's possible for this to happen. It's just, you need to have this container of divine love, and this divine love is a teacher of love, or love itself. But when it comes to the this density that you are in plane, when it comes through physical body, it kind of becomes some being, whether through both of you or through another. project or being or whatever comes out from this union. So yeah, this it always needs to take you to it. Ideally, when we're speaking about tantric and Taoist practices, they're speaking about the divine and taking you to the divine. But I have, not only with from my own personal experience, but from others, heard many people, this might come from the feminine masculine split programming and patriarchy programming of men, and how they should behave with women and dominate and use women. So in many tantric schools, this is what has been happening. The women have been used through centuries so that you support a man and uplift a man, and the woman is kind of left behind. And I'm not saying that every school is like that, and if you still need somebody to hold your space. And sometimes in these kind of unions, when this new energy is happening, your body can get sick. So you need, ideally, your partner holds the space, and the divinity that you connect to and you bring down and body is holding you space, your space. But if you are up for that, it's completely your choice. I'm not up for it, and I'm not somebody who is I'm in these kind of unions. I don't see space for polyamory and polygamy, monogamy. I'm only for monogamy. This is the trinity, because from these two, something third, I mean, so whether that's somebody going with another part, I don't know, but this doesn't sound very conscious to me. But again, it's all about soul contracts. So whatever you had as an agreement before coming here with the soul or souls, if, I don't know, at some point the energy removes from one person and goes to the other, that something else too, I don't know, that's all in soul agreements, and it's different for everybody depending on what you need and what your individual and souls need and you together need for your evolution, and what is needed for the evolution, for collective evolution here now. And what I see, what is needed at the moment is exactly this union, divine masculine, and healing this wound between divine feminine and divine masculine, because all of this so far was creating this wound. And then there is individually between you what was happening in past lives because of all these dynamics that were there, that was set there to create the wound. Yes, you can just integrate some frequencies and sounds and light codes, and that's all. You grow like that too. But so we're here with other people, with other energies, and there are other things that are needed at the moment. So it's gonna create different space when you lead from an example, when you teach from an example. And what I see, this creating harmony between in families, soul families, and these, I mean, soul families are already in harmonies. It's us here that, well, healing some spaces on other planes that these wounds have been created, so they're learning the lesson. They can go a little bit higher and integrate these harmonics from other universes, at least universes that are so unknown to us that we call them other universes, but it's still inside. It's coming from the inside out. So this union needs to happen on the inside first. So when I become impatient a little bit, they just tell me it has to happen on this other plane and inside first, and then it just comes naturally. It's like inflow. It flows into your reality. It's like you're coming. You just step into a different reality. So there are no places here for other energies. This is what I meant bringing in other people. Sometimes even you're thinking you're having a simple conversation, but these are bringing other intentions into it, because people are with their intent, and especially if they're energetically strong people, they can bring something else in it. And when you're in resonance with each other, you will feel it, and you don't always know what is it, what's that you're feeling, but it creates some disturbances in the field, and it's unified field between these people. And then when you create your own union, then you can outflow it through the others, but through the container, through the safe container of this union, so that it doesn't create another wound, another split. This is why holding the space and trust and feeling safe and appreciated is needed, so that these other energies don't create disturbances in the field. And then you're not in resonance anymore, you're not vibrating together anymore. So yeah, and this is what we're going to be dealing in my program, actually. So we're sort of starting from some little bit a lecture that explains some and defines what we're going to do, and then in some terms they're going to be used, and create some agreements between participants and facilitator, which is me. And then we're going to be dealing with how you relate to yourself first, go inward, and which principle you're functioning, but how you relate to yourself and what there needs to be addressed yet in yourself, so you can create space for this expanded energy within you, and create space for creating better resonance with your inner male or inner female, whatever is needed. And then we're going to be dealing with partner relationships, whether you have or you don't have a partner. It doesn't really matter whether that's an imaginary partner or you just want somebody as a partner, or a discarnate partner. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be dealing to see how you function when you are in a relationship, or any kind of relationships or partnerships, and where are problems there, where is the wounding there. And then this might provoke some patterns, karmic patterns, and patterns of behavioral patterns that are karmical in you. And then we'll be dealing with your connection to the divine, which means divine feminine and divine masculine energies, and how you relate to them. And then we will be creating the space for sacred relationship, with creating the container in connection to the divine, to God, which is Divine Mother Father, God, that helps create this Trinity space in you, which creates this container in you that is going to be open space only for your divine partner, whether incarnate or not, whether physically present or not. And then to integrate these divine energies into this, which creating this space between you, and then integrating it. And I will be having some discussions, and that's going to be 6-week program starting from October. And yeah, if you're interested, you can ask me some questions, and I'll be glad to answer them. And I hope I managed to bring a bit closer of my view, my take on it, and how I am going to try to guide this, because I'm going to be holding this, but well, not only me, other energies too, but I'm going to be responsible for this container for you, as usually in my sessions, but this is going to be a little bit bigger space, and hopefully it's going to bring some healing for everybody. So yes, I think I said everything, in my batteries dying, so even if I didn't say, I'm gonna have to finish. um so thank you very much. If I haven't addressed something, I'm gonna make another video probably, but thank you very much, and thank you for your patience. See you next time.